What's up, y'all? It's your girl Amanda, and we are back with another episode of Mandy's Entertainment Reviews. So, for this episode, we are reviewing the first couple episodes of The Shy. So, the final season of The Shy is currently starting to stream. Not the full season, obviously, but the first couple episodes are currently on the streaming site for Showtime. I think it's on, what is it, Paramount Plus? So I did watch the first couple episodes, so most of the characters do come from the first two. I haven't seen the third episode yet, but The Shy is the final season released on Showtime slash Paramount Plus, and it was starting to be released on May of 2026. So starring Rotimi, who is like a singer. I've never heard of any of Rotimi's music, but I know I've seen him in like, Power, my hometown hero, Jason Weaver. We actually went to the same high school. He is also known as Marcus Henderson from Smart Guy. He also was in ATL. He's just a neighborhood legend. Let's see, Luke James, who is a singer, very talented singer. Used to sing backgrounds for, a lot of R&B legends. Jacob Lattimore, who is also a child star legend himself. Karuchi, a beautiful lady, a veteran actress herself. Burgundy Baker, who plays Keisha, and she's also seen a lot on TikTok. And Rolando Boyce, which I found out that he had a role on R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet. So he's from Chicago, just like R. Kelly. So for the first episode, it's revealed that Pastor Zeke was killed. So what I think is going to happen is it's going to be written in a style of, they're going to figure out who killed Pastor Zeke. It's also going to reveal who murdered other characters. And it will also be an expose on other characters as well. So if you guys listen to my previous TV reviews, what I'm going to do is reveal the character and the prediction. And once the season is officially over, I'll come back and do the conclusions. So we're going to start with Vic. Vic, I predict, might be a menace in prison. We did see him kind of like beat up on people messing with him. And he's also might turn on Shot to get out more, to get out a more messed up situation. So yeah, basically he's gonna turn on Shot. I predict. For Shot, because he was also one of the first characters to appear, he might turn on Vic, and he might get out and get with Patience because he was just kind of flirting with her when she was visiting him in the visiting room. For Jake, he might get caught up in his brother Reg's mess, and he might get killed, or he might kill Reg, because Reg is just kind of a butthole. Nobody can really stand him. Bakari, he might take out Nook in order to calm everything down in the streets of Chicago, and he might be killed, or he might marry his girlfriend Lene. For Lene, she might get caught up in Bakari's mess because, she loves Bakari so much and she always wants what's best for him. And he might, or she might be killed not by Nook, but probably another kidnapper that we might not see coming because she might, get in too deep for Bakari. Papa, he will be the character we all see in the movies before, he had his faith. Something happened and he loses his faith. And then he goes through something else and he might gain it back. So we all know Papa's father was murdered and he just kind of like, withdrew. Well, not really withdrew from church, but he became a different person. So, something traumatic like an accident or being nearly killed, he might, get his faith back and just be really deep in the church. For Keisha, she might get overwhelmed with life with Emmett and she might leave. It's a lot of kids in the house, Emmett running his business and Emmett with him grieving his mom. She just might be overwhelmed and just might throw her hands up and take her kid with Emmett and leave. And leave Emmett with his other children with other women. Zuri, I assume she's going to have a situationship with Charles because they do have history together, so it might be like a scandalous situationship. Let's see. Patience, she's gonna pull a last minute Hail Mary and get Shad and Victor out of jail. Like a surprisingly Hail Mary. We'll have to figure out what that is. For Tiff, she will find out that Nuck did all that murdering and she'll try to escape him, but Nuck might turn and become violent and she'll be just held captive in a situation. Just my prediction. Emmett, with everything that's going on with him losing his mom, he might want to leave Chicago for a better life for his family and his children. So even though I think Keisha might, want to leave Emmett and the family in general, Emmett might throw his hands up and say, you know what, I want to leave Chicago for a better life. Darnell, who is Emmett's father, even though he's still grieving Jada, he does get really bad depression, even after taking a break from Riley. Because in the first episode, Riley's like, I think we should take some space. So he might get more depressed. Reg. Reg might raise all types of hell, and he might be killed, either by Jake or Keith, because Reg is gonna Reg, right? Riley loves Darnell, but might get frustrated by him, but in the end, they might work it out, and they might not get married, but just have an understanding and partnership. Charles might get caught up with Zuri and might have involvement in the murder of Pastor Zeke. Rosalind, who is Candy Burris' character, she might skip town and be caught later, probably towards the end of the season. Good old Nuck, he might get caught up, killed by the streets when someone finds out what happened. So he might not go to jail. He might, be killed. Keith might also be killed off, dealing with Reg, Jordan, and Candace. Jordan, who is a new character, she might work with the police and might, help the police figure out what's all going on with the murder of Pastor Zeke. We don't know. Carolyn. Carolyn might become like an advocate for grieving widows. So she might start like a support group or something, like, like in the beginning of the series, there was like the support group for the ladies whose son had died, and then the gentleman had like the support group. So Carolyn might start like that type of group. Devante, who is Emmett's son, he might get caught up in some street gang stuff. He might shoot up a school or something. I just predict like some sort of bad behavior for him. Kenya, Kenya might expose the reason why she owns a gun some point in the series. Candace. Candace just might have a small role. I could be wrong, but she might have a small role. Nora has a big role of getting Shad and Vic out of jail because they had a hard time finding her in the first couple of episodes. Smitty, who is a new character, his girlfriend might get him caught up in something. Rafi, he might get killed due to Nuck. Fatima might reconnect with Vic once, he's released and kind of like free from his legal issues. Desiree is Jake's potential love interest, and she's probably going to be pregnant by him. That's a big prediction, isn't it? Tiff's mother might get custody of EJ, but I think, she might give him back because she might have a change of heart. Judge Bradley might have a small role in getting Shad and Vic out of jail. And lastly, Amaya might get caught up in Smitty's lifestyle. So these are pretty much very general predictions. And again, y'all, I'll come back and give like the actual conclusion once the season ends. So the season probably ends in July. So I'll be back in July with a follow-up episode. So let me know if y'all have any predictions. You could share them in the comments, and I look forward to reading them. And I look forward to this season. So thank y'all for listening. Peace.